Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille Saunders, healer, tarot enthusiast, and your local witch next door, and today I'm talking about tarot and plant magic. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. Thanks so much for those of you who were able to attend my virtual tarot card creation event last week. If you signed up but were unable to make it to the live event, you should have the replay of the event recording, the PDF I made with my step-by-step process, and an offer to join my upcoming series called Tarot for Transformation. Check your emails. If you weren't able to attend live and didn't register in time, you can go ahead and get the full hour-long recording with my step-by-step method, example of the tarot cards I've created, journaling questions, and 15-page PDF to walk you through it for just $33. You can click here to purchase now. The link will be in the show notes. I'm going to be offering a 12-week Tarot for Transformation live course this summer. If you're interested, sign up here for more info, and the link will be in the show notes for that. If you love the show, the best way to support it is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. I've just updated my Patreon bag of benefits to be bigger and better than ever. Today, actually, on June 25th, as I'm recording this, I hosted my first live new moon collective tarot reading. If you join the lovers level of the podcast on Patreon, you will get access to an exclusive Discord chat with me to chat live during the stream, and I'll pull a card for each one of my patrons in addition to the new moon collective spread. If you want an individual card pulled for you once a month live on the podcast, join the Everyday Tarot Patreon family at the lovers level. If you'd like to support the podcast even further, you can get a one-time individual 5-card reading in addition to all the other benefits if you join the Witch Bitch level on the Patreon. If you're local to the greater Puget Sound area, check out my Let's Talk Tarot meetup group for the latest event postings. I'm having an event coming up on July 10th, hopefully at Thresholds Collective. Still waiting to hear back on that in South Tacoma. But we'll be doing a full moon circle, women's circle on that day. And again, I have the link is on Meetup now, and you can check that by clicking on the link in the show notes. Let's see, if you're interested in my free PDF with the 2025 5-card tarot spread I created just for you at the beginning of this year, you can get that by joining my newsletter list. My weekly newsletter always has the most up-to-date information on upcoming events, presentations, discounts, musings, info, and photos of my day-to-day life, and more. And if you don't already know, I'm a sex and relationships therapist, seeing clients virtually all over Washington State. I love working with queer, poly, and witchy clients. So if you'd like to work with a therapist that doesn't judge you, is witchy just like you, and helps you learn how to deal with anxiety, chronic pain or illness, communication issues, self-advocacy, and sex, head to my website and book a free consultation now to start your journey. You can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or on my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to the images of the cards I pull on each episode. So, welcome to Season 10, where I'm talking all about tarot and witchcraft. If you haven't listened to my other seasons yet, you should check those out. In Season 1, I talked tarot basics. Seasons 2 and 3, I went through all the major arcana cards and an overview of the 4 suits. In Season 4, I talked tarot and pop culture. In Season 5, I went through 13 common tarot spreads. And Season 6, 7, 8, and 9 were for the suit of wands, pentacles, swords, and cups. So yes, if you may have gathered, I have talked about every single tarot card, all 78 in their own individual episodes. If you ever are looking for a specific card, you can, of course, scroll through all the podcast episodes, but if you want to find the specific number a little bit faster, you can go to my website, again, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, and use the search bar at the top to look for a specific episode, just by the title of the tarot card. So that should be fairly easy for you. So like I said, we're into Season 10 now, where I'm talking all about tarot and witchcraft, and today I'm talking about tarot and plant magic, which is a large subject. And so today I'm gonna sort of narrow it down specifically to what I'm doing sort of this week, incorporating tarot and plant magic. Like I said, today for me as I'm recording this is the new moon in Cancer on June 25th, 2025. So I did that new moon live session earlier. You will be able to find it on my YouTube and Instagram and Facebook on there, and I will be doing those every month, or every new moon I'll be going live to do that. So if you want to hear more about the new moon today, you can check that out. I did a tarot spread in there, but today I'm going to sort of talk about what my practice today is going to look like, incorporating tarot and plant magic on the Cancer new moon. So let's start with, let's see. I have a couple books here that I'm pulling inspiration from. So in Bewitching the Elements by Gabriella Herstick, a guide to empowering yourself through earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. On page 96, she talks about Venus, the Roman goddess of love, sexuality, victory, beauty, and glamour. And today I'm using both the Empress card from the Goddess of Love Tarot deck, as well as the Lovers cards from the Goddess of Love Tarot deck, and the Lila and Olive Ophidia Rosa Tarot. And I chose those two decks because the Goddess of Love one has a bunch of roses and has a lot of plant magic incorporated in it, with sort of love, lust, sexuality, etc. And the Lila and Olive Ophidia Rosa Tarot is all flowers and plants in it. So those are my two decks that sort of have some imbued plant magic in them. Of course, lots of tarot decks utilize plants or sort of symbols in different ways with plants on them. There are a lot of decks that are like botanical decks. I'm still looking out to buy one that I really like. I've seen a lot, I guess for me it's important that it have like the references to exactly what plant it is. I like it if it's on the card, and there's just a certain style of art that I prefer. So I'm still on the lookout. So if you have any particular ones in mind, you can email me, me@camillesaunders.com, if you have a deck that you think would be a good fit for me, because I really want a more, a plant magic specific deck, because I'm a really big gardener, and I love using plants. So I guess other ways I can talk about it today. So like I said, I am, I have a book called Cottage Witchery, Natural Magic for Hearth and Home by Ellen Dugan. And under the Midsummer Magic, which again for me, summer solstice just passed. It's a Cancer new moon. We're in Cancer season. And in there they have a good spell for loving vibration. So it says, have a bowl of edible berries, some strawberries or strawberry leaves, a red candle, a plate, matches, or a lighter. I also got some rose petals. I have strawberries today because that is what is blooming in my yard. So here you can set this up on an altar, a hearth, or a hearthstone. For me, I have like a ceramic plate, so if candle wax falls on it, or if I'm burning something, it's not going to be harmed. And you can sort of arrange it around. I'll have a picture of the image on my Instagram and on my website, so you can see the actual thing that I sort of created. So I have a red candle from Mithras Candles. They have incredibly beautiful witchy candles. So I have one of theirs. Like I said, I have some strawberries, I have some rose petals because that's what I had in my yard. And again, when we think of like Venus, Cancer season, I just think of pinks and reds and roses. In the tarot spread I did earlier for the new moon, we did like a self-love spell. So all of these things are sort of, again, different things I'm pulling from to incorporate tarot with plant magic. So it says this spell can be to improve your outlook on life by giving you a more cheerful view. So we're going to light the candle and then we're going to repeat the charm 3 times. So I am grabbing my lighter here. Let's see. And then you can do this with me, so you can set up your own altar here or hearth, or, you know, be outside. Okay, lighting my candle. All right, so ripe and fresh berries are a love-inducing fruit. They bring health and romance and happiness to boot. As I eat this berry, I now bring into me strength and love, well-being, and a happiness shine for all to see. By all the powers of 3 times 3, as it will, then so must it be. All right, and they told me to eat a berry, so I'm gonna do that. So yeah, they talk about here that roses are popular flowers to work with in spells, especially at this time of year, which again, for me, roses are blooming or maybe a little past right now, but I was still able to find some petals. Again, you can have anything that's sort of like pink, reds, love, again, you know, berries, all of that sort of coated, peach roses. If you have a particular goddess that you have an affinity for or worship, there are different correspondences, so I'll talk about some of them. So Aphrodite, it says white and red roses. Freya, red roses. Hecate, a burgundy or a chocolatey red rose. Lilith, a deep burgundy. Selene, a white rose. And Titania, the fairy queen, all roses, the more fragrant the better. There's also a rose spell in here and other things about summer magic. So again, I'm sort of compiling different things today. So if we hop back over to the Venus, Roman goddess of love, sexuality, victory, beauty, and glamour discussion. So Venus is the Roman equivalent of the Greek Aphrodite. Love begins and ends with Venus. The goddess of the sea can guide you in reclaiming your beauty, your sexuality, and your ability to receive. I guess another thing that I didn't say was that I have some ocean water that I took, I think when I was in Hawaii. It's like a very small container. It was like a container I had like shampoo or something in. So it was airline appropriate, TSA approved, 3 ounces or less. And I scooped up a little ocean water at one point when I was there, and I brought it home with me. And so I actually sprinkled some of that also on my little altar today for this celebration, because also Venus was born of the sea foam after Saturn and Uranus. Venus is a cosmic reflection you see when you stare in the mirror. She's love, like her, your love, it's infinite. So you can also create like an altar for Venus, the goddess of beauty. Again, she's very loving, goddess of the sea, so like seashells, you know, colors, reds, pinks, silvers, aquamarine, seafoam, green, blue, silver, gold, red. You can have roses, swans are also on there, which I'm looking at some of the tarot cards in front of me. So the one that I think has Venus on it is the Empress in the Goddess of Love tarot deck. So I did pull that one out, and she has the water. We have dolphins. She's very mermaid looking, like she has this really long hair. There's lots of roses. We see some like cupids. I have some crystals, so some rose quartz, anything like pink or red or that reminds you of love. And like I said, I pulled the lovers cards because those are the ones that are associated with Venus normally. So at least as per Gabriella Herstick in this book, it says, through the lovers you meet one of the most ancient and powerful teachings of this goddess, that of unconditional love. Venus doesn't let boundaries or expectations keep her from loving. She loves others no matter where they are. In tarot, the lovers teach of the same energy of harnessing the power of love for connection, creation, and growth between individuals. Venus creates and blesses the bridge you must cross to meet another person fully. And through the lovers, you see this cosmic state of love exemplified, a reminder that love in any form is worthy. Here, you aren't worried about the potential of being upset or hurt. You're not invested in the negative what ifs. Here, there's conscious connection, a union between partners or aspects of the self. Here, Venus is her purest form, shining the light of love in its essence, that which expects nothing and gives everything. So it says you can meditate on and journal about what this card and unconditional love for you. This can also be a beautiful card in terms of self-love and asking yourself how you can give yourself the love you seek. The Lovers invites you into the realm of desire, into the land of love and lust. Explore and take stock. Make note of what speaks to you. Stay here as long as you like. And you can have offerings of wine or apples, rose water, honey, sweet cakes, sweets, roses, fruits, and devotions of love. So again, we are in the new moon right now, which is good for manifesting, drawing in, starting something new, calling in something new, right? Which maybe is that aspect of self-love or starting to work on that aspect. They also talk about in here you can turn your shower or bath into a ritual, right, which is a great way to incorporate plant magic. Again, you could have a tarot card either in mind or like on your bathroom mirror, try not to get it wet, but you could pull, again, rose petals are a great thing. Ideally, you want to make sure they're not sprayed with pesticides, so organic roses, or if you grow them yourself, then you know that, because otherwise those things can end up in your water. You can also get dried roses, again, if you don't have them and you want to buy them to put in a bath. You can always use herbs or other things, again, like in your experience. Like, I think to me, plant magic is a way to sort of incorporate a lot of the sensory aspects of ritual, like with the tarot, because again, tarot is lovely and wonderful, and again, you can kind of use it in a lot of ways, but it's very visual and it's very I guess literally two-dimensional a lot of the times because it's on a flat card. So today I'm sort of thinking about, ways to incorporate plant magic when you have specific tarot cards. Again, some decks will maybe tell you affiliations. Some decks might have flowers or plants on the card. So if there was a card that, again, you were sort of trying to embody or putting it on your altar, or it's the card you pulled, your daily card or your weekly card or your new moon or full moon card for this time, just take a look at it, and I think go with your intuition about like what plants align or feel good with that for you. I think that there's kind of no wrong answers. So like showers or baths are another way to incorporate plants. So you could use eucalyptus, you can use rose petals or roses or even dried ones, right? A lot of this is what like bath bombs or bath salts often have in them. So those are also things you can create yourself, especially if you have your own garden and have flowers that you can dry. What else was I just thinking of? Oh, herbs can be really good too, because herbs are fairly cheap and they're easy to grow inside if you don't have a lot of space, and so those can be a really nice way to also, you can of course eat them, which is very fun too, but you can also put them into water or baths. I was trying to think, essential oils. That would be another way to sort of incorporate things into baths, because essential oils are basically plant oil, like extractions of the plant oils. So plants have oils in them, right? Which is often where if you pick a flower, you pick a plant and you kind of crush it in your hands, like either the stem or the flower petals or the fruit, right, will like have resinous, or you know, it might dye your hands a little bit. Those are part of the plant oils and extracts. Making essential oils is a very to like get the amount that you get in a bottle requires a lot of plants, even in like a 1 ounce or ½ ounce bottle. So it is sort of a, I would say, commercial process. It's possible, there's just like a lot of distillation. So if you have a distiller, then maybe you can do it. But other than that, generally that's not something the everyday person's necessarily going to do. But again, essential oils are a fairly accessible way to incorporate some plant magic. In the book I talked about the other day, Hedge Witch Book of Days, Spells, Rituals, and Recipes for a Magical Year by Mandy Mitchell. They talk about with summer or June. Again, this guide goes by month. They talk about reaping summer's bounty, so you can eat things, right? You can actually eat flowers. I have some in my yard, like borage. I'm trying to think. You can eat calendula. It doesn't taste great. It's really good for skincare. A lot of like any herb plants, usually you can eat their flowers, like chives, rosemary, thyme. They usually just taste sort of like whatever the stem tastes like. What else? You can eat nasturtium flowers. You can, of course, dry flowers and hang them. Then you can always, you know, you can have them as a display, maybe on your altar or with your tarot cards, or you can kind of crush up the flower petals and again put them in a bath or infuse oil with them, or again, you could put them on your altar or things like that. You can drink your flowers, so you can add things to drinks or ice cubes before freezing them. Again, it's good to like, you know, look up edible flowers or get a book on them. I have a lot of books about herbs and flowers and edible plants, so I'm fairly familiar, but again, don't just necessarily go eating every flower. Check out some of the easy ones first. So yeah, I talked about chives, thyme, violets, pansies, marigolds, borage, chamomile, of course, like the tea. The tea is just made of chamomile dried flowers usually, and then lavender is another one as well, which again, a lot of these things might be used in cooking or baking. You can, like I said, you can bathe in them. You can press flowers. This is something that I've done a little bit, but I'd like to get more into. So like, you know, putting them on sheets of paper between really heavy books is like a DIY way to do it. With my online coven, the Dirty Hoe Coven, we celebrated the flower moon together 2 years ago, I think, at this point in May. And so I did some pressed flowers then, and we actually used some dried pressed flowers to create some art like on glass, which was very cool. You can, you know, you can pick up the petals and just kind of strew them about, right? If we think of like a wedding where you have petals that go down, often rose petals. There's a lot of ways that we actually incorporate like a lot of these things into ritual or daily life, even if you might not have thought about it before. So right, generally I would say like the flower girl that's like at a wedding is like usually the flowers are going to be representing love, and sort of like bringing in this love for, right, the marriage or the family. So you could always, again, you can put them outside. I have an outside altar, so sometimes doing things like that outside is fun, or you can have them on your altar. What else? Sometimes you can use them to repel pests. Lavender, basil, marigolds, or mint can sometimes repel pests, so you could use the dried things for that. You can bask in them, which again would be like putting them in water, using them in a tonic, or in like infusing oil. I infuse oil with calendula and St. John's wort separately for different times of year, because I use oils for cleansing my face. And then Yeah, there's also like the language of flowers. So, right, florists are often very familiar with this, but there are different flowers that sort of mean different things. And there's lots of tradition, again, around giving certain flowers at certain times. So they talk about red roses for love, lavender for peace, dandelions for happiness. I think of chamomile as like often we have it for sleep because it's a very calming thing. You can use flowers in spells or in sachets. So you could put dried flowers in a sachet. Growing up, we had lots of lavender bushes, and my mom would make sachets, and we would put them in our sock drawers. So that was kind of fun. Or of course, you could put them on an altar. And then there's also sort of medicinal uses for flowers. Like I said, like I use St. John's wort or chamomile or calendula, often in oils. Yeah, so those are some of sort of like witchy ways to incorporate flowers. And I'm sort of intertwining this with the tarot today, even though it's not a like specific correspondence, because I think the most fun way I find to incorporate plant magic is in more daily things. I have signed up to get every other week a bouquet from a local flower farmer. So I have a bouquet behind me on my altar, in the place where I do my podcasts and in my office. I have a rose or a Himalayan salt thing that's like, rosy colored, rose quartz colored, where I have candles for when I do tarot episodes or other witchy things. What else? A lot of candles, right, have flowers in them or scents or essential oils. So again, a lot of the things that we use in sort of like witchcraft or magical practice incorporate plants. We just might not always think about it. Yeah, so I'm thinking about maybe doing like a 3-card spread. I don't know. Maybe I will stop there and we'll just pull a card for the what should we learn today, because I did have the Lovers cards from the 2 decks and then the Empress one as sort of our inspiration for today. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull one from the Ophidia Rosa deck, because I don't use this super often, and I'm trying to get to know it a little bit more. Okay, so when we think about tarot and plant magic, what else can we be thinking of? How can we incorporate it into our day-to-day? How do we honor the plants, especially when tarot is incorporating them or using their symbolism or beauty to indicate certain things? Okay, and I pulled the 10 of Pentacles, which right off the bat, I'm like, Pentacles are grounded, earth energy. Of course this came up when it comes to plants. But let's see here. So this is the Lila and Olive Ophidia Rosa Tarot. And again, okay, 10 of Pentacles. It says, when all is at peace, we rise, fall, and spring to our center. I like that. So when all is at peace, we rise, fall, and spring to our center. So that's the sort of like brief description of this card from this deck. It's part of what I find it a little challenging, is that it doesn't give you a lot of information. The cards are beautiful though. So we have 3 different kind of big flowers on here. We have some like almost like that are depicted. We have some I don't know, like seed pods almost that are coming off some other things with leaves, and again, 10 of Pentacles, so we have that grounded earth energy. We have 10s, which are about completion. Usually the ace is seen as sort of the Fool equivalent, and the 10 is the world, the end of the journey. So we're in a place of completion. I think also it sort of goes along. We have a lot of reds and oranges, and just the vibe of the Ten of Pentacles is very, I would say, like self-loving, which seems to go along with the roses, the berries, the Venus, the lovers cards that we have all here. So it sounds like we're just continuing to be called into that, right? That we're thinking about, let me look at what it said one more time. When all is at peace, we rise, fall, and spring to our center. That we're sort of centered by things when things are at peace, and that sort of, I don't know, makes everything a little bit easier when we have that like self-love. Also, I think a lot of how we feel at peace is by trying to, you know, have love for ourselves and have compassion for ourselves even when things don't go right, or when it feels like you're not, I don't know, showing up to standard or things like that. So I'll stop there for today. Thanks for joining me on this a little bit tangential journey. Maybe I'll do a whole season on like tarot and plant magic in the future. It would be kind of fun to do like a card paired with a plant per episode. So again, we could have like Venus and roses. We could have like the lovers cards, or we could have the devil, and at least where I live would be like blackberry bushes, or sometimes like, I don't know, poison ivy, or morning glory, or bindweed where I am. Those come up as like associations. So maybe that's some inspiration for the future, because this is a big topic and it's hard to talk about it without being specific about the card or the plant. So anyway, links for the tarot decks I talk about will always be in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast comes out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. You can email me, me@CamilleASaunders.com, with thoughts, questions, and more. And join me next new moon live. I'll have it scheduled this time, so about a week ahead of time, I'll be telling you what time I'm going to go live, and hopefully it'll be streamed on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube all at the same time next time. So yeah, that will be very fun if you're able to join me live and show up in the chat. All right, so see you soon. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.